Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Spilling Tea. I'm your host, Tiffany Daniels, and we're going back to that horrible world known as the JRC. But before we do the disclaimers, the reason why I've been ranting, folks, the reason why I get so angry is because autistics, in regards to school shootings as well as other things, have been dealing with this for literal decades. I'm a Gen X autistic, folks. Gen X. I've been putting this up with this for an exceptionally long period of time. When you do things such as allude that a shooter might be autistic, and you do it every single school shooting. Hold on a second. Yes.
You may want to restart that if you're referring to the shooter as autistic. They were transgender.
I know this.
Okay.
That was mentioned too. The autistic just came out literally minutes ago, Paul.
Yeah, no, I'm reading the news on it now. There's no mention of autistic at all.
That's because you're reading U.S. news. You're not reading.
No, I'm reading UK news too. There's no mention of autism, just that she was trans.
We have different news sources, folks. He's got his ear to the ground to, I call it neurotypical news. I got my ear to the ground in the disability community. It has indeed been going around. I know this because it was sent to one of my fellows who is in the autistic community. What I'm talking about is, every time it's brought up, we get painted a particular way. You do that for a long period of time, it affects how neurotypical society sees people like me. They get this idea that we have no empathy, we have no emotions, that we're actually more sociopathic. None of that is true at all. When we are portrayed that certain way, and with it being this close to April, I can already predict the hellscape Autism Awareness Month is going to be. It means that society tends to turn a blind eye when atrocities are being perpetuated on us. In particular, at places like the JRC. Now, if you want to mention the kind of profile most of these people do on the shooters, let's talk about what these students are put through. They're being tortured, starved, sleep deprived. If anybody would fit the profile of somebody who would be thinking about revenge, I'm going to say it's the... You see where I'm going here, right? But notice that doesn't happen. Because even when horrible things are happening to us, when we fight legally. We do videos. We create websites. We do informational dives. We put out information out in social media and the media. We do peaceful protests. This is how autistics fight. That has literally been the way since the inception of the neurodivergent fight. And it's not just us, folks, but the other people you like to vilify, like those with ADHD, they're usually the ones marching right alongside us. We operate within the law. Even when you are perpetuating basically literally the level of war crimes against us every single day. How we are portrayed out in the media, out in Hollywood, why we were so against SIA and anything else that paints us that way, is because it has real life consequences. Alright, now to the disclaimers. In the description box, you're going to find a link to the article that the Judge Rotenberg Educational Center doesn't want you to read. It's written by NeuroClastic, a small non-for-profit started by autistics for autistics, wherein they interviewed and surveyed over 900 ABA professionals regards to the JRC's quote-unquote behavior modification program. Matter of fact, the JRC doesn't want you to read this article so much, they have threatened NeuroClastic with a defamation lawsuit if they did not remove it from the website. Well, NeuroClastic has refused, so you know the drill, folks. Please read that article and share it on all your social media. And real quick, I do want to speak up on the fact that it has been brought up that this person was trans. As a member of the autistic community who has watched for every single school shooting, well, that we get vilified, I know what's about to happen with them in the media. I know what the GOP is going to weaponize this to do, because it's been done to us. They're going to use this to paint the trans rights movement into something that it isn't. To paint these individuals that they don't know, who they've never spoken to, as villains. I know, because again, it's happened to us. Let me raise you a point. Out of over 300 school shootings that has happened within the last recent years, you've had one individual, one that we know of, that I'm seeing, correct me if I'm wrong, that is identified as trans. One. Okay? Hearing me on this? One. You do not get to take the actions of one individual to paint others with a broad brush so that you can engage in your own version of the witch trials. Okay? Why can we not stop with the bullcrap and then just evaluate individuals as individuals? Why do we gotta treat a tragedy like this and use it as justification for bigotry? Whether it's ableism, or whether it's transphobia, or whether you're out against innocent drag queens and lying, saying they're doing things that they're not. Okay? Stop it. And if you're doing this, I don't care if you're on the right or the left. If you're doing this and using it to paint a broad brush, then you're the problem. People are individuals with their own unique experiences in life. Okay? Some of us do horrible things. And maybe we belong to a group. That does not mean you get the right to vilify the rest of the individuals who are. Okay? I'm tired of it. One person's violent act does not give you the right to paint an entire group or community of individuals with the same brush and turn us into your villains. You leave them alone. Back off! Now let's finish the disclaimers. Shall we? Shall we just? Okay, moving on. I lost my train of thought. Also linked in the description box, you're going to see the link to the Ozarks First article in regards to the Agape boarding school / now known as Stone for Help boarding school situation. This is a so-called Christian-themed boarding school based out of Stockton, Missouri that takes in so-called troubled male teens that has impending over 21 civil lawsuits, claims, and allegations leveled against it, all which have been substantiated by the Missouri Department of Social Services, and they include the following: sodomy, rape, sexual assault, child abuse, psychological and emotional abuse, child trafficking, starvation, and that's just for starters. You have one former staff member arrested by the FBI, another doctor still on the premises with full access of the boys up on, again, multiple claims, again substantiated, of sodomy, rape, and sexual assault of the boys there. You got an attorney general too busy chasing after drag queens to protect kids from real pedophiles, and you've got a governor who's off his nuts. So please read the article and share it on all your social media. We get the other pertinent links to the Stop the Shocks campaign as well, including Autistic Hoya's massive archive on the subject. Jennifer Masemba's behavioral sheet of shockable offenses. Please look at and read at that as we read the lies that they basically had DDS over a barrel to regurgitate. A glimpse, a few moments out of the 7-hour ordeal undergone by Andre McCollins back in 2002. The templates and the ever-present self-explanatory change.org shut the Judge Rotenberg Center down petition. What we discussed at JRC, you're going to hear vivid descriptions of and catch clips of surveillance footage of people with disabilities being tortured and abused. If you got young children present, please go again and use your headphones, all right? All right, trigger warning, we're about to once again descend into the mad ravings of the lunatic mind known as Dr. Matthew Israel. You're going to hear gaslighting, victim blaming, lies, pseudoscience, ableism, bigotry, the usual, folks, all coming from a man with a massive ego and even larger God complex, so be prepared for the stupid, all right? My final point before we move on. It's very simple, folks. Stop vilifying people you don't know. Stop using, whether it be our neurodevelopmental diagnosis or how we identify ourselves in life, as an excuse to restart the Salem witch trials. It's not that hard to wrap your brain around. Moving on, back to where we were. In fact, the module number of weekly GED applications for GED-approved students was 0. Again, we've already proven that is a lie. Special attention was paid to a review of GM who is approved for Level 3 for what appears to be a prophylactic deterrent for seriously harmful behavior. Again, we all know that's a lie because we have Jennifer Masemba's behavioral sheets, and we know for a fact that you shock kids literally for getting up out of their seats. In fact, Dr. Matthew Israel, before he gave us this paragraph, gave us his justification for doing so. So which is it? Is DDS telling the truth here, doctor? Or are you? Because there's some inconsistencies there. The certification team was impressed by JRC staff's thorough rationale for this strategy as it is integrated into a diligent discharge planning effort. You're impressed. This impresses you. Shocking someone for standing up for more than 3 seconds impresses you. Depriving them of food and sleep impresses you. The bizarre behavior rehearsal lessons. This impresses you? By God, I live in a red state and I'm sitting there just going, the student's targeted behaviors now in remission are so dangerous that his treatment team feels the need to have the device available to use in case of relapse. So much for fading them off the device. But you fade them off the device if they don't have the behaviors, right? Thank you, DDS, for showing us that the JRC, once again, as we all know, lies. And apparently so do you. Because the truth is, folks, we know for a fact that they do not just shock these kids for so-called behaviors. They will shock them for what they will justify as the starting of having a behavior, which can be literally just getting up out of your seat to pull your underwear out of your butt crack. fact, if you go to Jennifer Masemba's behavioral sheet, you would see that one of the main reasons they get shocked is for non-compliance, a term that is so vague that it can literally mean anything that the staff member says it does. While Leversley interventions remain a part of his treatment plan, he has not received an application in over 2 years. The student supports this approach. Does he? I love when they use this defense, because usually when they make it, the person is still on the device. So what if the student says no, they do not support it? What if he was to scream and say they are torturing me while the device is still on them? Do you think it's going to happen? Now, I want someone to explain for me the justification of if this kid has not received shocks in 2 years, their own words. Why is he still on it? But he might have a behavior. We have to have it on there just in case. Bullshit, folks. They don't fade people off of this device. That is just the lie they tell themselves to get the media off their back. They say the student supports it because, I'll tell you, as someone who survived abuse, we will tell you whatever you want us to say if it means that the torture will stop for as long as 5 seconds. Everybody knows that. There are lies and inconsistencies all over the place with the thing that we just read here. So, doctor, who am I to believe? You or the DDS staff? We all know, in fact, you have even alluded to that you shock kids who are not having behaviors, but they got up, and you see that as the beginning of having a behavior, so you shock them, not taking into account that there's many reasons why a person may need to get out of their seat. It's lies and smoke, folks, and it's not even good. It's not even good. There's not a single thing in this entire major run-on sentence paragraph here that in any way justifies the things that they get up to at the JRC, but we're just supposed to swallow it. I'll close out on that. We don't get very many views on this channel. The few that we do tend to get removed from time to time, so please don't forget to hit that like button, hit subscribe, don't forget to hit the comments. I do appreciate your time, and as always, we here at Spilling Tea do hope you have a good one. Bye-bye, everyone.